Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart. First of all, on the 1 day time frame, because currently we're starting to see this bullish divergence play out on the 1 day time frame. Like I said, in the case that you don't know, a bullish divergence is when we have lower lows in the Bitcoin price and higher lows in the RSI momentum indicator. So later today, we are actually going to see the confirmation of this bullish divergence, because very likely we are going to close this candle in the green. Now, typically a bullish divergence indicates that we are likely going to get a break from all of this bearish price action that we have been seeing here recently on the 1 day time frame, of course. So usually this plays out in the form of either some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bullish momentum on the 1 day time frame. One thing we should take into consideration is that we are still below this descending trend line in the RSI. So understand that this is one extra risk factor if you are currently opening up a big long position like that, especially if we end up reaching this descending trend line in the RSI once again, or if we end up reaching this descending trend line in the price, because potentially we could be getting a rejection from there. But in terms of some bullish confirmation, for me, that would simply be if we end up breaking above this resistance, perhaps with a breakout, retest, resumption type structure. And from there, I do think we would be off to the races, likely getting higher price action for Bitcoin after that as well. Now taking a look at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because technically speaking, we are still breaking down to the downside from this symmetrical triangle pattern, which is targeting about 69,000 in the Bitcoin price. And so far, while we have been talking about this breakout over and over again over the last couple of days, this was the right outlook and the right posture to have, because we got about a 10% move to the downside in just a matter of days. However, since then, we have actually seen a massive bullish divergence confirm on the 4-hour time frame as well. So again, the same rules basically apply for the 4-hour time frame as well as the 1 day time frame at the moment. If you want to see some kind of invalidation of this bullish divergence, that would be if we end up trading below this descending trend line in the price or below this ascending trend line in the RSI momentum indicator. So that could potentially be something to look out for over the next couple of days. But like I said, for now, most likely either some choppy sideways or bullish momentum. However, since we are in a downtrend on this 4-hour time frame and we still have this active price target of 69K, it means that we should pay extra attention to potential areas of resistance, because we can be seeing rejections from there. For example, the resistance sitting at around these previous highs at 83.7K, and also on this descending trend line, for example, where we have some resistance at 85.3K. The most important level to actually break above is the 85.5K level, because at that point, if we get candle closes above that level, it means that we have then invalidated this bearish breakout pattern. And yes, even though the momentum at the moment is bullish on these lower time frames, take into consideration, for example, an ascending trend line like this, as well as pay very close attention to the important levels of resistance that I mentioned, because if we start to break down from here once again, it will be quite likely that we do get more bearish momentum after that as well. And for me personally, at least, it makes the most sense to be trading the lower time frames, because here the situation is much more manageable and much more clear than what we have going on the 4-hour and the 1 day time frames at the moment. Next, moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on the 3 day time frame, currently we have some liquidity to the upside sitting at around 84.2K, and there is more liquidity to the upside above that as well, even as high as 86.6K. However, we also have liquidity to the downside sitting, for example, at 82.4K, and the next big pocket of liquidity to the downside is sitting at 80.2K and even 78.7K. So that's it in terms of short-term levels of liquidity. But right now on the higher time frame, so for example, this 2-week time frame, most of the liquidity is still to the upside, because of course, over the last week or two, we have seen a lot of downside for Bitcoin, meaning that all of the downside liquidity is pretty much taken out. Lastly, taking a quick look at the 1 year time frame, notice how we do still have a lot of liquidity around this 75.3k level. So again, if we start turning around and breaking below those critical levels of support that I mentioned earlier in this video, then we could be coming down to take out this big level of liquidity here. However, do understand, guys, that there is massive liquidity to the upside, sitting at around 100k, for example, in the Bitcoin price, where we have close to $30 billion worth of short positions that would get taken out and liquidated if we reach this level. Lastly, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables, because yesterday we saw a massive outflow once again, close to $370 million flowing out of the Bitcoin ETFs in a single day of trading, meaning that for now the Bitcoin ETFs are having a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. Either way, this has been today's market update. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss any of these important update videos. But regardless, if you do end up subscribing or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.